others are there, or kind of what have been your experiences with being in community or in relation with other Two-Spirit queer people?
It's been transformative. Like, it's like, it's not having to negotiate any part of me, and it's not having to, like, you know, if I go into a queer space and gender is asked, like, I'm like, okay, I'm queer, I'm genderqueer, I'm non-binary. Like, I've gone through, like, maybe in some places I'm trans, I'm not trans enough to identify as trans, like, all the things, but then to, like, be in a space where, like, it's not just about, like, this physical body, it's not just about this, like, presentation, it's, like, the way we carry, like, all the elements within us, it's the way that we understand and we flow, and, like, I just, like, feeling a really deep medicine that, like, being at this table and having this conversation with you, like, it's being in a space that acknowledges you and on this level of, and, like, that teaches you ways that are affirming of, like, that you are, like, you're, like, you exist, like, you actually exist here, and, like, you, like, and, like, for me, like, always it's been, like, a thing of, like, you know, I've always felt with, like, realities, I'm crazy, like, I'm making these things, like, from a young age, you know, too, but then to be in a space that, like, I think that the like, yeah, going from also circles that, like, I remember when I was in Dominican Republic, feeling really excited that I was going to be able to ride in the car down to the caves with two elders, and one of them identified as, like, queer, and they had a partner, and I think that they, like, I read somewhere they were into gender studies, and, like, I was like, oh, maybe they're not, like trans, like, I didn't know, and asking about Two-Spirit, and one of the elders being like, oh, we're all Two-Spirit, and just, like, being like, we all have that within us, and it just kind of feeling like, okay, we have all these, like, it was very binary still, but I was like, no, but, like, and at the time I did not know how to express it. I was like, no, like, what about, like what we would call trans? Like, I was just so, like, I was met with this answer, and I can't remember what they said, and I was just like, I just felt it in my gut of, like, this isn't exactly what you think it is, and that's okay, but, like, and there's, like, again, like, that kind of respect level, like, not questioning, and and then finding the circle at UT, like, the Danza circle, where it was, like, being in the MAC with, like, queer and trans people who were also in NAIC, like, through QTPACA, I don't know what it's called now, QTPAC, and NAIC, and, like, that's where I was like, oh my gosh, they hold all of these spaces, like, we're all, like, and seeing that, and then being in the circles where, I remember when we went to my first medicine ceremony, and, like, the fact that y'all had a conversation of, like, there's gonna be rules, here's elders, there's, like, know that, like, it's acknowledged, but, like, maybe not on the way, like, even having a conversation of, like, just was like, oh my, like, to have a conversation I didn't know that I needed to have to feel safe was really, and, like, so those things come with, like, sharing space with other queer Two-Spirit folks, and just, like, all the knowledge that comes that they hold, that they're, like, we're always teaching each other, so, and I think that's, like, why I've come, and there was, like, you know, I think from the circles that I came, there was always critique about, like, once you start in a kapuli, like, that's your kapuli, you're not supposed to leave, but never really wanting to, like, commit, and feeling a lot of shame, and then finding groups of being like, oh, like, I am whole here, like, all of my queerness, and I don't even, like, the words aren't even right, like, gender and queer, like, and sexuality, those don't even encompass it, but, like, here, it exists, and it's acknowledged, and it's real, and we're, like, we all hold it, and we hold each other, and and that was just, that's, I think, why I keep coming back. It might not, like, be the most involved, I still, like, you know, like, I think there's still a lot of shame I carry about, like, not having, like, family history, like, just not being able to claim these things in the way that a lot of, like, strong leaders do, you know, like, but that's, I come back because it's like, there are places that this can exist, and you can be held, like, I've seen it, I know it, I'm a part of it, and, like, my standards are just, like, totally different now, because I know that it's there, and I know that and other places will have you believe that there's still a way that things can be done, and that those binaries exist, and that's okay. Like, maybe, like, I don't know, they get to that part, like, maybe they do and they need to and their things, but, like, also there are spaces that, like, are complete and whole and, like, or people that I know.
Yeah. Yeah. And
like, places are being built and created and have existed.
mm-hmm.
And going to my first, I remember the class at UT, like, I remember all of the, like, Kristen would bring in a bunch of, like, quotes from Two-Spirit folks and queer indigenous folks, and one of them being Candy Brings Plenty, and I remember going to my, like, Creating Change and knowing that she was going to do a workshop and being like, I have to go. And then just realizing that it was beyond, there's more just outside of like, the Downset group, like, and then following y'all when y'all went to the Black Hill, like, when it was you and Madeline and some other folks went up to the Black Hills.
To South Dakota?
Yeah.
I have not been.
No,
but I think it was, might have been Jose.
Okay. Again, I didn't know folks at the time very well. Like, I was always kind of watching and just, like, Madeline was always my, like,
your reference point.
Yeah. Like always. Yeah. It's, like, weird to say. But, like, knowing that there was a Two-Spirit camp out there and, like, reading that article in my class of, like, Two-Spirit camps exist and, like, there are places that really honor that, whatever that looks like in different spaces.
Yeah.
And just being like, okay, like, it's not just this group of, like, because it's easy to feel, like, weird and crazy, and I have my own internalized things, obviously, I hold a lot still, but no, it's like, I've come back, and that's why I want to keep coming to these spaces, because it does. It's like, before that, it's like, every time you learn something new, there's another new piece of you, and once you get a new piece, it's like another piece is ignored, or, like, you have to let go of it, and it's finally like, oh, this deep pain that you're feeling, like, there's a trauma that we believe in, like, there's a trauma, like, we believe in these things, and, like, so it just became more whole.
Yeah. Did you go to that, there was a sweat lodge at Yolanda's that was, like, for Two-Spirit queer people. Did you go to that one?
I think that, I know I went to Madeline's Going Away one.
Yes.
And there were a lot of, like, Two-Spirit queer folks there.
Yes. Okay, because I swear I thought you were...
I think, I want to say, what is...
Because it was from, like, there was people from Denver visiting. There was people out of town, like, that were from Denver that were visiting. And we had a sweat because a lot of them were, like, Two-Spirit queer folks. No?
Don't... Maybe there are times though, like, where I used to like, especially in the beginning, I mean, I still do, like, I used to get so anxious that I didn't belong in those spaces. Like, I still wanted to go, and I was still called, and I knew in ceremony, like, while we were praying, like, all of that was gone, and I knew that, like, I always left feeling better, but, like, getting myself to those places, and even, like, into the actual ceremony, my anxiety was so high. Like, I always felt like I didn't belong. Like, I didn't have a right to be there.
Yeah.
Especially, like, when we were talking about, like, Kim's class, like, I remember just having that conversation and them talking about, like, blood quantum and, like, all of those things and just being, like, it's like, I was so just, like, always feeling like I didn't have a right to be there yet.
Yeah, like a, kind of like a perpetual outsider type of thing.
Yeah.
But, you know what's funny when you say that? Because there's white people that be going to these ceremonies.
Yeah,
and I like, but
even they can claim, like, my father and my grandmother, like, they have, like, for me, like, that familial, like, that lineage, like, I just felt like I was like, I don't even have that.
Yeah.
So I didn't even, like, it just didn't, I've never felt like I had the right to be there.
Yeah. I will say those white people, though, that do go, don't have any type of Cherokee or whatever.
Right? No, like...
Right, but, like, no one... Right, yeah, you're like, no one knows it, but that's so interesting that you bring that up, because I guarantee you that those white folks never think twice about... Or that thought doesn't come to their heads. Right, so it's been interesting, like, seeing, you know, white folks in these spaces, because, like, there's literally, like, indigenous descended people, you know, like you, who are from the border, that's where the medicine grows. You know, you are from the place where peyote grows. You know?
I realized that.
You
I
know-
never made that connection.
You know, you are where